Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has suspended West Australian Senator Fatima Payman after she went on the ABC today and threatened to cross the floor again. Here she was leaving the lodge earlier today.
Have you been expelled though?
No.
You haven't been? What was discussed with the Prime Minister?
The 29-year-old joined the Greens to vote for an immediate recognition of Palestine's statehood last week, despite the fact, of course, Palestine is governed by terrorists who refuse to release Israeli hostages.
She told the ABC this morning that Anthony Albanese had given her a stern talking to.
If the same motion on recognising the state of Palestine was to be brought forward tomorrow, I would cross the floor. I respect the Prime Minister and my senior colleagues, and obviously the Prime Minister had a stern but fair conversation with me a few days ago, and I understand that he's got, very important decisions to make as the leader of our nation.
Well, it can't have been that stern, because Senator Payman said she wouldn't hesitate to defy the PM again.
It depends on what is brought forward in the Senate. Obviously, you and I both don't have a crystal ball, so it's really difficult to say. But if the same motion on recognising the state of Palestine was to be brought forward tomorrow, I would cross the floor.
You would cross the floor again?
Yes.
Do you expect it will come forward again?
Well, I haven't been speaking to the Greens, and I think that's a question you can ask the Greens.
So after that interview, Anthony Albanese had finally had enough. He summoned her to the lodge and informed her she is indefinitely suspended from Labor Party caucus meetings. He really had to do this. Otherwise, the narrative of Anthony Albanese being weak on China, now weak on Fatima Payman, was going to just continue over the course of the week. And it's not the first time she's defied him. Remember when Anthony Albanese said, "From the river to the sea" is a statement that has no place in this country. And then she went into an interview and repeated the phrase after he'd said that. Of course, she crossed the floor. She said on the ABC today she'd do it again. She left the Prime Minister with no choice.
No, absolutely. But I will say, though, that Anthony Albanese has proven himself to be a wilted lettuce leaf on this issue from the very beginning. I mean, he's had almost 1 week now to suspend her. And this was the first time, James, that a Labor MP has crossed the floor and got off scot-free. Now, she's gone on the ABC this morning and gone, well, I'm ready to go rogue again. I'm happy to cross the floor. And all that this suggests is that Anthony Albanese actually encouraged that behaviour. It emboldened her to make such a profound statement this morning that she would, in fact, go again, because there was no leadership from the very beginning. In the end, she is a young Muslim woman. The Labor Party need those Western Sydney seats. They need that diversity. She's a young Muslim woman. She fits that profile perfectly. And I truly believe that's why he has dithered around with it for the last few days.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just the fact she said she would do it again. It's the way she said it. She told the ABC, "I respect the Prime Minister," but then added, "I would defy him again." So you really don't respect him if you're going to defy him and make him look weak. The other problem the Labor Party have got here, and you alluded to this, is that she was very young when she was selected for the Senate. She's the third youngest senator in Australian history. She's the first famously Afghan-born hijab-wearing senator. I'm quoting the ABC. So she's been celebrated for her diversity. The problem, of course, is if you're going to have diversity picks, they're going to come with some diverse ideas. She says, "I represent modern Australia." And so for her, modern Australia is being born in Afghanistan, entering the Australian Senate and voting on issues that have to do with foreign affairs rather than what has to do with Australia's national interest.
And the thing about this, James, is that she used her first speech in the Senate to talk about how her family fled Afghanistan, fled the Taliban rule. So she's come here to talk about it, and now she's come out supporting Palestine, a Palestine state. She's come out supporting what we're seeing over there in the moment. At the moment, we know that Palestine only want Hamas want one state, their own terrorist state. And I just find it extraordinary. She's come here fleeing from the Taliban. But look, so I was going to say her position now, James, is completely untenable, realistically. I'm not even sure maybe she didn't realise the enormity of what
I think
she has done.
She knew.
Well, then what does she do now? Does she become an independent?
She's already alluded to it.
Go into the abyss? I mean, what does she do?
Well, when David Spears asked her on the ABC this morning, would you cross the floor again? And she said, and I quote, well, you'd have to ask the Greens. So when she's a Labor senator saying, well, you'll have to figure out what the Greens are going to do in order to know what I'm going to do, yes, her position is untenable, and I don't think she really cares. She is defiant and happy to go down as a martyr in the Labor Party.
Well, the only winner out of this, let's be honest, is Adam Bant, because it just emboldens the Greens even further to keep pushing the lunatic
and the
agenda.
biggest loser is not Fatima Payman, it's Anthony Albanese, who looks weak again for, as you said, allowing this thing to drag on far longer than it ever should have.
Absolutely.